Sitting in my blackness, number three, Black History and Black History Month. Black history is history. Black history is necessary. Black history is the untold story of America's greatness. More than just slavery until now, more than the civil rights, is more than 28 days, 29 days on a leap year. Black history is being made every day. Black history is that deeper side of ourselves that is unleashed when we are honest with who we are. Black history is me. One of the main questions that I think about a lot: when did I first start learning about Black people in history? One of the earliest memories that I have of learning and reflecting on Black history in the context of American history was when I was in middle school. I really appreciate my middle school English and social studies teacher because they integrated Black history into so many of the narratives, even if it wasn't in the textbook. And that was important because my classes were full of Black people, and many of my teachers in those younger years were Black people. And so I think my teachers were also asking and challenging, why are we learning about a bunch of white people when the lives that inspire us are made with faces that look like ours? And so I appreciate my teachers for doing that. Of course, like, our school would always decorate an entire wall or an entire hallway with all of the, kumbaya type of Black history stuff. So there would be faces of all of these figures and timelines of important moments that Black people had throughout history. I also remember that certain teachers would wear African dress and wear certain cloths in order to really remind us that Black history was more than just our experience in the United States. My school didn't make us go through 28 days of learning the people that the teacher selected. Each day we had to write about a new person, and it had to be people who were not like the already common names. And so there was a list of people that we could not write about, and that allowed myself and my classmates to dig a little bit more deeper into some of those histories. Back then, I was really fascinated with a lot of the women abolitionists, business people, entertainers. And I remember, one of my favorite people to research and write about was Ida B. Wells. Learning her story really fueled a lot of that early sensation within myself to be a Black woman who was for Black people and was for the people at large. And I reflect on that experience as like my first time really learning what justice and advocacy and activism was. When it came to how Black history matched or fused with American history, the narrative about Black people always started with slavery. Like the fact that, we were people who were captured from different parts of Western Africa and brought onto slave ships here. Because there were not a lot of books and textbooks about Black history, my teachers would play different movies about our history and those different narratives. That's how I remember first learning about Black history and Black History Month. We are required to learn American history in the narratives of white men and some white women who have made certain staples in the progress and journey towards the America that we see today. It's very unfortunate that Black history, Asian history, Native American history, Hispanic history, Latino history, the history of immigration beyond colonialism, that all of those were options, that those were the electives that we had to take. It was the same for me as well because of my interest in the arts. I took a lot of art history classes, and even then, the art that would be shown would primarily be art by all of these, white men, painters and sculptors throughout history. And then the last like 2 chapters of all the art history books were, Asian American art, Asian art at large, and then a small chapter on African and African American art. And that always like pissed me off. And so even thinking about the stories that I had and the essays that I had to write when I was younger, some of those were the essays that allowed me to explore who are some of the Black artists that I really love. As it regards Black history today and Black History Month, Black Future Month, Black Story Month, Black Love Month, however we want to call February of every year, I always have to challenge myself not to become that person who becomes so part of the mainstream that I lose touch with taking those moments, that dedicated month, to really dive deeply. Yeah, I can be woke and be like, well,
we should be celebrating Black History Month all the time anyways, 365.
But in reality, there aren't that many people who are doing that 365. There are some amazing projects that I really, really love, like Because of Them, We Can, is one of my favorite projects that chronicles and celebrates a person in Black history and Black contemporary life every single day. And they do it through the vantage point of little kids dressing up like these historical and contemporary figures. There are some other projects, and I'll leave a link to a lot of those in the description below, that's also celebrating the triumphs and the leadership of everyday Black people who are doing great things right now. One of the things that recently came up in the media was about ending things like BET and Black History Month and other Black centered award shows. This woman who is a Black woman, her skin is not that far removed from my own skin tone, and I think about how she has literally sold herself over to white mainstream media to disgrace and discredit the power and the influences of structures like Black History Month in BET. What I don't think we dive deeply enough into when it regards Black history is how so much of the experience of being Black in America has also included being broken apart and divided from where we really come from and who our family and our kin are. So many families have been divided because of mass incarceration, and how that is just an extension of how families would be divided when slaves were sold to different families and broken apart, and or when fathers were emasculated through the lynching that happened during those times as well. We can't ignore that Black people have done many amazing things in our nation, and we cannot ignore that there have been systems that have made situations and circumstances that keep Black people down. And so knowing about those systems, knowing about that part of the history is equally important to me. It is very valuable for us to find that cultural healing and that cultural, reconnection through things like the Soul Train Awards and BET and VH1 Soul and all of these avenues that allow us to remember, celebrate, and honor who we are and how we are contributing to American life and to, society at large. Yeah, so I definitely invite you all to share your thoughts on whether or not you value Black History Month, or if you feel connection to Black history, whether or not you're a Black person yourself. And of course, be sure to check out the previous videos that have been created for this series in my Blackness, as well as check out my vlog channel to see other parts of my life. And of course, like this video, subscribe to this channel to get more, and share it with your friends. Thanks.